Oh boy.
And can I get in here without screwing it up? Oh
It's
wait,
back.
audio.
All right.
Yeah, that would probably help.
Yeah. And in fact, yeah.
Oh,
Should
yeah,
I take
so
my
mute.
pants off or not?
Just say also mute YouTube, so we don't reverberate it. Yeah.
All right.
All right. All right. All right.
Oh, I don't know if I can scoot it. Oh. Hey, we're both wearing kind of sort of red. Wisconsin.
Well, yeah.
Under Armour.
Yeah. Da.
Header.
Hada.
How am I here? That's fire, so. I will explain briefly, folks. We have lots of wires mess that we need to.
Oh, are we live now?
Yes, we are.
Oh, that's good. I will not say anything self-incriminating then.
Yes, that would probably be a good thing.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
All right.
Are we responding to
No.
the chat or no?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's up to
I will
you.
not.
Not
Oh,
not
not
while
looking
we're
at
doing the podcast. You can respond right now if you want,
Yeah.
Sweet.
because we're not
I'm
technically.
gonna bring up the
this-
chat real quick. Hold on.
This will all be cut. I'm gonna. First off, let me explain what's going on to people who are watching right now. This is we do this every Thursday. We live stream our podcast. Now, you guys don't see the podcast until Monday because it is exclusively live streamed for our $10 and up Patreon backers. But here's the dealio. As an act of, I don't want to say kindness, but more of an act of advertising, to be honest, we are live streaming this week's episode, or I should say next week's episode of the Nintendo Prime Podcast because I want to kind of advertise Patreon a little bit. So before we get into the podcast, before we sync everything up, before we get everything all ready and smoothed out for our podcast editor, I want to let you guys know patreon.com/Nintendo Prime. Seriously, if you guys go there for $10 a month, you can literally watch the following week's podcast every single Thursday night. We record it live on YouTube only for our Patreon backers that are $10 and up. You can also get the podcast early, audio version early on Sunday, which is technically not as early as the live podcast. So we're kind of doing this to there's a little bit of an experimental side to me to see how popular a live podcast is. Mm-hmm. But on top of that, I just want to really see some more support on Patreon. Our Patreon has been kind of stunted in growth for some time. So yeah, that's kind of just a thing that's going to be happening today. So don't expect this every week. We have been live streaming it every single week for almost 2 months now, and you guys never see it. So I figured I'd toss it out there this week, let you guys see one of the Patreon perks, and we'll go from there. But I'm gonna load the stream up here just so I know what's happening in case someone tells me the chat died or the podcast died. Come on.
I'm looking at the chat right now. I got it up on my phone. For some reason, the stream is not playing, but the chat is going. I don't know how I managed that.
Well, I just want mute my phone. I'm like, how do I mute it?
Mute.
Shut up. It's okay. When I go like this, that's how it appears.
Yeah. Hooray.
All right. So, Darren, are you ready to sync audio up?
I am ready when you are, Captain.
All right. So 3, 2, 1. I think that's really good. We're just gonna leave it at that. First time ever, one clap.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Wow, that's really
you're
unusual.
welcome, Martin. All right. Shall we get going, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah. Are we using a list of topics I compiled, or did you?
Well, considering
edit those
that
a
I
bit?
never sent you a topic list, I think that's a go.
Sweet. Okay.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Yes.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Nintendo Prime Podcast, episode 60.
Whoa.
Holy cow.
Holy crud. I never thought I would live to see 60.
Yeah. Wait.
Years old, that is.
Wait.
I'm not 60 yet. Yes, we are back this week. It is actually our full regular crew after Darren was bragging about how he wasn't going to miss a podcast for a while, and then he missed one last week. Welcome back, Darren.
I did. Glad to be back, though. That's for sure.
We are so glad to have you back as well. Even though some people really liked we shortened up the podcast last week. Some people really like that, but don't get used to it. Our podcast is usually going to be at least an hour, probably 2, sometimes 3. Kind of gets that way.
I don't think I've ever been on a podcast where you are the host that is under an hour and a half.
Well, should have been on last week.
Yeah, right. Well, then it probably would have been an hour and a half.
No, we've had a slew of them hit like an hour 20-ish, but not when you're around, Darren. You just bring
Okay.
the special sauce.
I guess so.
So I do want to mention to everyone watching that if you would like to catch this podcast early, there are two methods to do it, and they happen on different days, right? Kind of strange, right? So for $5 a month on patreon.com/Nintendo Prime, you can get the podcast, the audio version, full audio version on Sunday, which is actually the day before we send the video version live. We send the video version live every single Monday, or at least we try really hard to. Sometimes editing delays happen, life comes in the way, but we try really hard. No matter what, the audio version always lands first on Patreon for $5 and up. For $10 and up, you can actually sketch the podcast like 4 or 5 days early because we actually record the podcast on Thursday nights, and we do it live for our $10 and up Patreon backers. I'm just well aware of this right now. We are actually doing this live publicly this week just to kind of bring in a bigger crowd and maybe say, hey, look, this is what you get every single Thursday, kind of advertise our Patreon a little bit. So there is that. But the full edited version, where you're not even know we're using the green screen, you're just going to enjoy some beautiful imagery and some amazing audio, and Darren actually being on the screen, kind of, sort of, even though Darren hasn't had a face reveal yet on our channel. It'll happen someday, I
Not
promise.
yet.
I promise.
It will.
But yeah, so there's that. That's really all I have for any sort of advertising, I guess. You have something you want to say?
Generally, Thursday nights at around 9 p.m. Central.
Yeah, we're actually recording a little later this Thursday because I didn't get any work done during the day. Well, I got some, but I didn't get any Nintendo Prime work done. So I had to get Prime News out really, really late. You guys know I like to get Prime News out at like anywhere between 3 and 6 o'clock, which is a really big window as is. But then, like, not getting it out till 9 o'clock, 9:30, that sucks. Anyways, life happens.
But we generally try to record around 9 Central.
So this podcast is also going to be a little different because I'm going to let Darren Harder lead the topics a little bit here because he, for the first podcast, I think, in Nintendo Prime history, has bottled up the topics, and this is all stuff that he has put together. And he did it specifically because I asked him to, because I was doing Prime News until 9:30 at night.
One of these topics, technically all three are fan topics, but the first one I came up with myself, and then someone asked it, so I'm like, well, I guess I'll keep it.
Yeah, let's go. Let's hit it up. What's our first topic, Darren?
All right, first topic. So Nintendo is researching a new console, a new system. I mean, that really doesn't surprise me. Companies are researching new iterations of their hardware all the time. But there's a specific quote. This comes from, and I'm going to butcher this, is Shinya Takahashi from Nintendo. He's a general manager at Nintendo. This translation comes from the BBC. We do not have access to the original Japanese translation. But he said, you may see the new system sometime in the future, after saying, Nintendo is working on new hardware right now. So my question is, honestly, his comment, the translation here kind of sounds like we are going to be seeing it sooner than we would a brand new system. So kind of hints at a new Switch iteration in my pipe dream. I don't know how you take this news, Nate, but I would love to see something along the lines of a Switch Pro. I was watching the video at Game Explain, and it said, "What if it's a new iteration of the 3DS?" And like, oh, Nintendo, please don't do this. Please don't.
Well, I kind of view it as we're only one of three directions, and one of the directions just makes no sense. The obvious direction is if they're talking about new hardware in terms of just a new Switch. Like you said, Switch Pro, Switch XL, whatever it's called. Now, Nintendo said they already announced that they're not doing that this year. Like, we're not going to see a new iteration of Switch this year. But that doesn't mean it can't be something that hits in 2019, something like that. They could be thinking ahead. Heck, I mean, I don't think they would unveil it at this E3 or something like that. But it is still something that, okay, yeah, after the holidays, early next year, they could be like, oh, by the way, end of this year, we're going to have this new, bigger, better version or whatever. To keep up with current technology trends, or they're not going to say technology trends, but that's basically what they'll be doing. Or obviously, as you said, could be a new 3DS, a 4DS, or whatever they want to call it.
That'd be interesting.
The only way I could see them justifying that is because they keep calling Switch a home console.
Right.
And if they truly believe that Switch is not a hybrid and is a home console you just happen to be able to take with you, then they might be thinking, yeah, so we should still make a dedicated handheld.
Yeah.
That is the worst decision ever.
Yeah.
In my mind.
It would.
I mean,
like, there's that.
Yeah.
The other option, and this is just one that this is the obvious answer. This is the one that has nothing to do with Switch Pro, nothing to do with the new 3DS. This is the one that I'm going to stick with until Nintendo gives me a reason not to. Companies are always working on new hardware.
Mm-hmm.
The PlayStation 5 was in development the moment that PlayStation 4 released.
Mm-hmm.
Probably before PlayStation 4 released.
PlayStation 6 is probably like on a notepad right now.
Yeah, like Switch was in development like within the first year of Wii U being out. Like, this is just how hardware companies and technology companies work. They're never just stagnant with what they're currently doing. They're always working on stuff behind the scenes, idealizing it, filing copyrights for it, building demos for it, yada 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 yada. As an example, like when the Wii U was being conceptualized, like early prototypes of it were two Wiimotes slapped on the sides of a tablet. Like, that's how they were conceptualizing Wii U, like, many, many years ago. And that was, like, literally within the first year of Wii coming out. So, like, they are always thinking about new tech. So, I look at this as, even if this isn't, like, hinting towards the Switch Pro, isn't hinting towards the 3DS, this could literally just be what they're always doing. He's just reiterating, yeah, we are working on new hardware because we're always working on new hardware, basically.
That's definitely what it sounded like to me. But
so
then
this
I
could
read the
literally,
quote.
not Switch Pro, not Switch XL, like this is either Switch 2, or maybe they're already thinking ahead of what are we going to do after the Switch craze dies.
Yeah, and I definitely, that is probably the outcome. I don't think anyone would be surprised if this quote was referencing, the next iteration of hardware that's not, a new iteration of Switch.
Mm-hmm. Well, the weird part, to me, is that while I feel like that's a likely outcome, what I don't understand is, like, they were talking about this at the BAFTA Awards after winning some awards and stuff. And I'm sitting there like, that's fine that it's happening, but they never talk about it this early.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they're going to talk about it, it's always, closer to when the other system comes out, someone will ask them the question, hey, how long have you been thinking about this? Oh, actually, we've been thinking about it since the beginning of the last generation. Okay, that's usually when we hear about this. Like, we're a little over a year out from Switch, and then we're hearing, yeah, we're working on new hardware. Well, I mean, yeah, I know you're working on new hardware. Duh.
Yeah,
You're not just be like, yeah, we made Switch, and we conceptualized and got it out back in 2014, 2015, released it in 2017, and now we're doing nothing. We have no plans for the future.
Yep.
Which is just another reason to think it might be a new iteration of Switch, because, Nintendo doesn't say a year after their new console release, hey, we're working on the next one. Because that's a given, and why would they talk about it anyway?
Yeah, it only makes fans feel tepid. Like, oh, should I pick up a Switch? And the thing is, like, that's also the thing. Like, if they're talking about it now, and it happens to be just the Switch Pro, to me it's like, yeah, but they already said there's not going to be a new iteration of the Switch this year. And they did that to make people not worry about buying a Switch right now. Because some people may be like, oh, we'll hold out for a Switch Pro. And they're like, well, we're not going to do that this year. So if you want to play games this year, like, buy a Switch. And so, like, come out and say, oh, it's new hardware, and that new hardware is clearly hinting at a new Switch. They're basically backtracking on what they just said. Like, yeah, we're still not going to release it this year, but we're telling you right now there's going to be a new Switch coming. So if you really want the latest and greatest Switch, maybe don't waste your money right now.
I'd also like to point out that it just says sometime in the future. Does that mean 10 years down the road, 100 years down the road?
Never.
That's what I'm saying. It's sometime in the
Nintendo
future.
goes under.
Yeah, it says sometime in the future. There's no timeline given.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, there usually isn't in cases like this.
Right. I mean, generally, conceptually, you're thinking probably maybe year
I almost
two,
think it's one of those things where it just came up kind of sort of casually, and afterwards, is like the PR people for Nintendo are like, dude,
why?
Like, yeah, you're not going to go in front of public anytime soon again because you can't keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, right.
This is a slip up that Reggie Fils-Aimé would have never did.
Yeah.
I mean, he might have said something. If someone asked him about new hardware, he would give the general, yeah, we're always working on new hardware.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, okay, that's because you're answering a question directly about it. This doesn't appear to be provoked. That's what's weird about it. He wasn't really like prodded, hey, so what's after Switch?
Yeah, right.
Like, no one's asking that question
What's
right
after
now.
Switch? Huh? New hardware.
People are still asking, what's Switch Online?
Yeah.
Is there going to be a virtual console? Is Switch going to outsell the Wii? Blah, blah, blah. Like,
we're trying to figure out
we're in the
Switch.
early days of Switch. It's usually not a question that comes up. So, I don't know. I mean, what do you think it is, Mr. Eric?
I'm more than likely just another Switch iteration. Honestly, it's so generalized. It's not. You can't. How can you even peg it down? Like
Well,
I
that's
said,
why I think it's not. Like, I think this is just they literally could be working on what is coming when Switch is done.
I think this is probably him trying to be. We're working on hardware type of thing, and it just didn't come across as.
We're by the way, they're working on new hardware. So all the people that wanted 4K with 18,000 teraflops, guess what? It's coming, folks.
Right?
Nintendo working on it right now. They heard your demands.
Yeah. No, so it's one of those things that
And your Switch docks into it.
Yeah, right.
Mystically.
Your docks into it.
And if you have a wall-mounted dock like I do, they even thought about that. Your wall mount will dock into it. And not only that, it will wall mount the system to the wall.
Yes.
Well, I don't know what else.
Wait,
I'm confused.
It'll mount the wall to your system.
Oh, I'm so confused.
Yeah. No, so it's one of those things that I think it was him trying to hint at, yes, we are working on hardware, but him not phrasing it as well as what it could have been phrased. Like you said, Reggie would have just said, yes, we're working on hardware, you know, we always are, type of thing.
Well, and we don't hear from Takahashi very often
Right.
at like public events.
Yeah, I had to look up who this guy was. I haven't heard his name in so long.
And who is he, for those who don't know?
He's the general manager of a department at Nintendo I cannot remember.
A very important department.
Yeah, it is.
It's
like development of something.
It's hardware development, basically. Yeah. It gets confusing at Nintendo because over the past few years they changed up all their names. Now they have fellows and blah 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 blah. But like basically Shinya Takahashi is one of the main people in charge of hardware development. So like obviously if he says they're working on something new, they're obviously working on something new because he is the guy that would know.
Right.
He would know more than anybody, besides maybe the CEO. So
it could just, like I said, it could just be bad phrasing. Oh no.
Well, and it is important to note that regardless of phrasing, this is a translation.
Mm-hmm. That too.
Now, granted, it's a translation by, at least I would believe the BBC isn't going to make that big of a screw up in translating things.
Right.
But we've seen gaffes in massive media outlets before. Mm-hmm. So it is possible that he never said any of this, and it's just a really terrible translation by whatever new guy they hired that happened to be at the BAFTA Awards.
Yeah. Or who wanted to just put a news story out.
Yeah, I want to be the guy to break this.
Fake news.
Yeah, so it is possible that like this is just absolutely nothing.
Right.
I think one possibility we should explore though is what happens if Nintendo thinks, you know, like I said, maybe they say, yeah, Switch is a home console. We still need that dedicated handheld for kids or whatever, you know, for a younger audience that isn't as expensive. Like say they want to release a new handheld at $150. Mm-hmm. Like, do you think that's even a viable thing? Like they could do that?
Bring back the Game Boy.
They could.
Yeah.
Game Boy Classic.
Well, that's the thing. What if by new hardware they're just talking about the next Classic system?
Yeah, that's very true too.
Like Game Boy Classic could very well be one of them. Mm-hmm. It's actually ripe for. Like, I think a Game Boy Classic would almost be the best selling thing they've ever made of their Classic systems. Mm-hmm. Game Boy,
especially you know it has Pokemon on it. Oh man.
Oh, if it's got Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow,
especially with a way to transfer between your own game, to trade between your own games.
Yeah.
That would be compatibility. Oof.
Yeah, there's some crazy things they could do there. I'm just not sure what this is, but like I keep thinking, I'm like, you know, Nintendo's still supporting the 3DS. They said, you know, here's why I'm even bringing up the idea of like a 3DS successor is because if we are to be one of those people that always believe Nintendo, and we're not, Nintendo lies all the time.
What? Big companies lie to us?
Remember, guys, Nintendo DS was not a replacement for the Game Boy Advance. Just remember that.
Yeah, 3DS wasn't a replacement for the DS either.
No. They did say 3DS was a replacement.
Eventually. Oh, they did. Wow. Okay.
Yes. But because it's a new system in the DS line. But they said DS is not a replacement for Game Boy Advance. So Nintendo, I'm still waiting for the new Game Boy. we've been waiting how many years now? Over a decade. But the point is that like that's why I think it's BS when they say, "Oh, Switch doesn't replace 3DS," and it's like, but I mean, it does. But here's the thing: what if this time they're actually telling the truth?
Yeah.
And to them, this doesn't replace the 3DS market. What happens is the 3DS is actually the older of all the systems they replaced, and now the Switch is making it look dated. So now they're like, look, we got to rethink the handheld market and do something different there.
Sure.
I don't know what that different could be,
The Switch.
because the only thing I can think of is a Switch Mini,
Yeah.
and even then, wouldn't that just
Ugh,
confuse the
get that out of my
marketplace a little bit?
face.
Like, wouldn't that, to me, that would just confuse the marketplace. A Switch that doesn't switch
Right.
and doesn't have detachable Joy-Cons or something.
Right.
Like, it would just, like, make half the stuff not even playable.
Get
Like
that
Labo. You
stuff
can't do
outta
Labo
here.
with the Switch Mini unless you buy extra Joy-Cons.
Yeah,
And even
get
then,
that stuff
Switch
outta
Mini
here.
wouldn't fit in the dang cardboard because it's designed around the Switch.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, you could jerry
I mean,
rig it
you
to-
could jerry-rig anything.
Same for a Switch
Hey,
XL.
that's actually a YouTube channel, I think. Jerry-rig anything.
Oh, nice.
Jerry rig everything.
Everything.
I believe.
Everything.
Oh, nice.
My bad. Well, there we go then. Guys, fresh new YouTube channel coming next week. Nathaniel Ruffle Jants. Jerry-rig anything, everything, all the time. All one word. No
Oh,
camel.
hashtag.
No camel case.
Oh God, no, no, no.
No, seriously. I mean, is there anything they could do to succeed the 3DS that isn't Switch?
Yes, but it'd suck.
Well, let's imagine a world where it doesn't suck. What would you even want that to look like?
A Switch.
Well, okay.
It's a good thing this isn't
Hold
my
on.
job.
Let's stop for a second. Let's look at it like this. Think of separating out the markets. Let's say Switch is a premium device, $300, right? Switch Pro will probably be $300 or more. Let's look at it in terms of marketplace value. My children are not going to get a Switch. I've seen what they do to my Switch. They will have their own Switch destroyed within a week. So
That's probably
let's think about it like that, where Switch is targeted at everyone, is targeted at the family, and targeted more at older people that are going to take better care of it. Whereas maybe they
not
could
according
take.
to the people on Reset Era, Nate. I saw this one post that said the Switch is marketed to kids, specifically like 5-year-olds.
Sure, they probably do have commercials for 5-year-olds now.
Probably, but
that's
like
not the
their
primary
only
market. Nintendo themselves has come out and said that they are surprised that the primary audience so far has been young adults. So like Nintendo themselves have already said like that's not who the primary audience is right now. They want to expand it, Labo, blah blah blah. But thing is, 5-year-olds are actually too young for Labo. It says 6+. Just pointing that out.
right.
So it's targeted at 6-year-olds. Get it right. Reset Era.
yeah.
But no, let's think about it like this, where you have Switch as like this thing meant for, families or older adults, and then look at what a 3DS successor could look like for kids. A more budget-oriented, heck, maybe even $100 device for kids.
Okay, so you put out 150 HDS, runs games at like 720p, 30 FPS.
That would already be better than Switch.
put out some. You put out a half-budget Mario game for it, and then a Kirby game, and whatever else you want to throw in there, and call it good. You make a couple $1 billion.
No,
and-
see, here's the
All
problem,
right.
Darren. You're thinking of yourself. You're not thinking of the children. What do children want out of their devices?
So you take a Switch, you put it in a big giant rubber box, and you call it good.
No.
No,
You guys are overthinking this. It's so obvious what they could do that would be massively different, and appeal to children, and they could try to make it cheap. You have, this is gonna sound weird, but you have what's called a Nintendo Touch. It's like an iPhone Touch, but it's for kids. That way they can get all they can get. You can offer an optional controller add-on for it if people want traditional controls to snap it into, but children probably aren't going to care because they care just about the touchscreen, and they get all the 3DS games or any Switch games that are convertible to just touch controls. They also get all of Nintendo's mobile games they're able to download right off Nintendo's eShop store for free. So the Fire Emblem Warriors of the world, the Super Mario Runs, because right now. I know that a lot of parents give their kids their old phones or buy them iPod Touches or whatever the case may be. But there's also still that market of parents, kind of like me, where I'm not buying my kids anything that's remotely a phone. It's not happening. They're not getting a phone. They're not getting a phone until they graduate high school. If I need to get a hold of them, I'll put a GPS tracker that has a speaker in it. They're not even going to know about it until I yell at them for getting their butt home because they're off in Eau Claire at 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, my kids ain't getting a phone. And for everyone out there, all the parents out there are going to be like, but how do you get a hold of your kids? You call the adult they should be around in the first place. And if they're not there, guess who's fucking grounded?
Ooh, we dropped the F-bomb.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
This is Nintendo Prime Podcast. We can swear.
I know.
Anyways, just had a shot. Like the people who are watching this live, they're not shy. I swear every night stream.
No, I know.
But no, it's just a problem with society. It's like, oh man, how did we ever survive before kids had cell phones?
Yeah, I know, right?
It's like my parents would call your parents and figure out where I am, and then find out I'm lying and I'm not there, and then I get in trouble. That's just what happens.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because you were out puking our guts out on a field, praying you'd never be drunk again.
Yes.
Yeah,
naked with a goat.
So it's just it's one of those things where I actually think there's a way that it would be so different from Switch.
Yeah.
You don't have detachable controllers that you could break or lose or break the stupid, lock system on it. Yeah. You don't have buttons that, like, as an example, my 4-year-old son has a 2DS and he broke his A button. How? Or B button.
Poor Nate's son.
No, because when he's playing, he's playing Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
And he mashes that A button.
He mashes that attack button like crazy. And now I have to push it with my full might to get him to swing the sword.
Nice.
My son's not strong enough to do it anymore.
Right.
He broke it. So it's like, that also goes to show that, granted, he's 4. I technically might be considered too young. I don't know. Nintendo would probably say he's not, but if you read their manual, it might say 5+, 6+, whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those things where, but he's never broke his tablet. Mm-hmm. So if Nintendo could just release a smaller, more convenient device for kids to carry around that doesn't have physical buttons as like a default,
right?
That actually might be better targeted for children who are growing up in, like, reality is they're growing up in a world where everything's touch. Like, Switch isn't really what youth is doing.
Right.
Youth is smartphones and all touch screens, no physical buttons, and Nintendo's not offering a device that does that.
Yeah.
I know Switch is capable of doing that, obviously, but it's not designed to be that way.
It's not designed to play touch.
Like you can't. Like this thing is, you can do it, but I'm not. Who's going to give their kid a $300? Like if you can do a budget $100 device, that plays all their mobile games and then any more touch games they want to make, or maybe they even get third party support in on it. I don't know. I just feel like it is something I would consider buying for my kids.
Yeah, the Nintendo Touch.
Whatever.
Yeah. Whoa. There you go, Eric.
Yeah, right.
Or call it the Switch Touch because maybe it interacts with the Switch as well.
Oh yeah. All right.
Like, heck,
or
maybe
not.
Or not.
Well, as an example, think about it. You put a accelerometer in or whatever, and you can now use it as a controller in Mario Kart.
Yeah.
As a motion controller.
Yeah.
Like, there's ways that can make it work. I know I'm obviously going out on a limb here to make up a product that probably doesn't exist. But I keep thinking, I'm like, if Nintendo is actually not lying out their butt like I think they are, this, I think, is actually a direction that might be able to find a market. A super budget device for parents to buy for the kids that fits in with today's technology and gives them lots of Nintendo goodness and might even make them want to get a Switch as they grow up.
Yeah. That works for me.
I mean, would I own one? Out of curiosity. And then because it's cheap enough, that's when I get to do fun things with it. Like, what happens when you shoot it with a shotgun?
What happens when you drop it into a vat of liquid nitrogen? And then shoot it with a shotgun. Wait.
Jeez, I wonder what happens. Yeah. What happens if you microwave it? Or, hey, we're doing a special Will It Blend episode.
What happens when you get hammered as hard as you can at the wall?
Yeah, right.
But it's just one of those things that I don't think this exists. But it is a hypothetical world, I think, that might be possible.
Yeah.
If Nintendo, like, I know some people actually want a Nintendo phone, but we saw Sony try that. It didn't really go that well. We
saw Microsoft try it with Windows Phone.
That wasn't a gaming phone.
I know.
That was just Windows. Windows was not built for phones.
Yeah, I know.
But I don't know. Like, Do you guys have any feedback? Do you even think that's a viable idea, or am I just making stuff up to make stuff up?
I would roll my eyes so hard they'd probably fall out of my head.
But it's not for you, so it doesn't matter. You
It's
can ignore
not
it even
for
exists.
me, but I don't think there's enough parents out there who would justify getting this Nintendo Touch for their kids rather than a smart device. that
Rather than
they
a
will-
$500 smart device versus a $100 device that if your kids break it, who gives a crap?
Okay, I've never owned a smartphone that costs more than $500.
Yep.
I've
Yeah,
like,
but let me tell you, parents aren't going out to the store to be like, you know what? Let me buy that $300. What?
We actually had an alert that didn't blow our ears out.
That's because we have the volume turned down on the mixer.
Holy cow.
No, that's because, as an example, when I'm thinking, oh man, you know what? My kid is 4 years old. They don't need a cell phone, but they want a smart device. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go out and spend $200 on this piece of junk Nextel smart device that's meant for, I don't even know, whatever the unlimited $45 plan is, which, by the way, you can't end up downloading the apps until you activate the phone. You can't activate the phone without buying the $45 plan, which makes it into a cell phone. What is there a parent even doing this?
Yeah,
like,
right.
is there a market where parents are like, you know what, my kid's 4-year-old, let me go buy him a cell phone?
Yeah, right.
no, they're gonna get their kids the $99 Fire tablet from Amazon for Christmas. They're not gonna get them the Nintendo Touch.
Why not? So you're telling me that they'll go buy the Fire Amazon tablet versus a system that is advertised as being for kids?
Yes.
That's bullshit.
No, because I mean, you're a big gamer, all right? I'm a big
Sure.
gamer. Yeah, I'd probably buy the Nintendo Touch for my kids, and you would too.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing: the Amazon Fire tablet, parents don't even fucking know about it. It's not advertised on Nickelodeon. It's like all these channels that these kids are
You
watching.
see it on the front page of Amazon all the time.
So not everyone shops
So
on
the-
Amazon,
So they're going Christmas shopping.
but not everyone shops on Amazon. You're
99%
limiting yourself to a
of the
single,
population.
not 99% of the population, dude. If that was the case, then Walmart wouldn't exist. None of the local stores, GameStop
Okay,
would be
a
out of
vast
business.
majority of the population
Really? You're
shops
gonna
at
have
Amazon
to
at least once in their life.
you're gonna have to give me some facts on that. And I'm not like I'm an
I'll look up
Amazon shopper,
statistics.
but like I'm dead serious that like eBay's a huge deal. There's a whole bunch of online places to shop that is like Newegg for PC stuff. Like I'm telling you, man, Amazon is not just because it's the biggest online retailer. It's also an online retailer, which means you're cutting out half the market that doesn't buy online in the first place. And then you're saying that they own the entire online market, which they don't. According to the recent statistics, by the way, they only own 45% of the online market. So you're going to cut out 55% of the online market.
Okay,
and
so 45% of the online market is going to see the Fire tablet on the front page of Amazon every other week.
that you realize
Probably
that
buy if they're going to buy a smart device for the kids. Are they going to buy this weird Nintendo Touch thing that they don't know about, or are they going to get their kids a smart device?
are they going to get their? Are they going to get?
already help
Hold
them
on,
run?
hold on. First off, they don't know anything about the Amazon Fire tablet until they click on it and look at it and see what
They
it
know
is.
it's a tablet.
Yeah, and they'll see the Nintendo Touch thing and they'll know it's a tablet as well. Because it looks like a tablet, it breathes like a tablet, it's advertised to them, it's in front of their eyeballs and ads on YouTube, it's in front of their eyeballs and ads on TV.
It quacks
Like,
like a tablet.
like you're basically saying, cut out 75% of the market, and it's okay because they're just going to go to Amazon. Like, do you understand how ridiculous it sounds to limit yourself to a device that's only available at one store versus the entire worldwide market? By the way,
But it's
not the
not
whole
just
world,
one device.
not the whole world. But by the way, Amazon's not available world over.
I'm just using the Fire tablet as an example. That's just one device.
Sure,
I mean, my little cousin, her mother, I mean, she got a new phone.
It is
gave
funny we're
her old
arguing about an
phone
item
to
that
her
doesn't even
daughter,
exist.
who was like 4 years old, and she still uses it.
sure.
It's not just the Fire tablet.
No, I understand what you're saying. Like my kids have cheap tablets as well.
Yeah.
I completely understand that. But what I'm saying is those tablets were ones I had to do the research into and look up to find them in the first place. Versus something that is being advertised to my children. So basically what you're saying is that advertising doesn't work. So my kids, when they see that toy on TV, they don't want it, even though that's what they ask for all the time. So you as a parent might be like, oh, I'm just gonna get you this Nabi tablet. I'm gonna get you this Amazon Fire tablet. I'm gonna do whatever. As your kid's sitting there yanking on you, I want the Nintendo Touch. I want to play Mario. I want to play Pokemon. Blah blah blah. Like, as your kid is sitting there yanking on you, because guess what? Advertising does work. I have 3 children. I'm well aware of how well advertising works on children.
If it didn't work, we wouldn't be doing it.
Exactly.
Just saying.
So it's one of those things that, like, you're ignoring the fact that this is stuff that is specifically targeted to kids versus tablets, which aren't really advertised to kids anywhere. They're just, there might be kid tablets, but there's not like an ad running on YouTube. Hey, go get this Nabi tablet. Like, no, you have to specifically look up kid tablets to even know what Nabi is.
Leapfrog.
Or Leapfrog, yeah.
Leapfrog, yeah.
But again, even Leapfrog doesn't advertise itself as a full-on tablet.
Right. Oh, right. It's a
multi-whatever device. Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, Leapfrog is able to exist despite the fact that tablets are clearly a more popular medium. And Leapfrog, is fighting an uphill battle, but they're still around. Like, my whole argument for this silly, stupid, made-up device that's probably never going to happen is that kids buy into marketing more than anyone in the world. And if parents are yanking at them and then they look at the device and they see it's only $100, they're going to buy that damn device. Versus, let me tell you this. My kids will say they want a tablet. I don't see them telling me, I want an Amazon Fire tablet. I want no, I just want a fucking tablet. Because they see other people using it. But then if they see other people using Nintendo Touch, or they see advertisements for Nintendo Touch, or play the latest Mario, Super Mario Run or whatever on Nintendo Touch, or like even like mobile apps, they start releasing exclusively first on Touch a month before it comes out to other phones and stuff. Oh, I want to play this. I want to play that. Oh, you have a Switch. Did you know if like I had a Touch, I could play Mario Kart on there, and then I can also like interact with you with your Mario Kart, Dad? Oh, all right,
cool.
$100. You're 4 or 5 years old. That is way better deal for me than buying you a Switch.
Until they go through 5 of them, and then you're at a Switch.
Well, I mean, that happens anyways. How many kids broke? I mean, I know Game Boys were a tank, but I know plenty of people who destroyed their Game Boys. Like, it just happens.
It did take a lot, though.
It took a lot. If it was under normal use
bomb
cases,
blasts, but not 4-year-olds.
Dude, I have seen some kids when I was younger get really mad at someone, grab the Game Boy, chuck it across the bus, and it was destroyed. So, like, yeah, it survived a bomb blast, but, like, it's a very specific causation situation that did that. It melted versus being chucked. Okay? Like, none of the internals were affected. It was just the outside. That's why it was able to survive that bomb blast. It's kind of like when people always tell me, oh, the Switch is super durable because it survived a 1,000-foot drop. I'm like, because the entire shock was taken in the Joy-Con. And let me tell you, did that Joy-Con survive? No, that Joy-Con got absolutely wrecked. So the thing that actually took the impact got destroyed. Now drop the Switch without the Joy-Cons on and watch if it survives. It ain't going to survive.
Nope.
So it's like,
my other best friend, he forgot his DS on top of his car once.
Oh.
Yeah, going down the on-ramp, 65 miles an hour. Yeah, what was that? Uh-oh.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't want to sit here and debate all day.
Actually, it still worked.
Well,
everything worked. It was just road rashed in the easiest convenient places. It wasn't even road rashed.
Yeah.
The screen was perfect.
Sure.
It was just where the clamshell hinge.
Yeah.
And then a little bit by a couple of the buttons. Other than that,
we all know about the Nintendium, the made-up crap that people say that Nintendo products are made out of. Yeah. The Switch apparently is not made out of.
Ah.
I don't
know what were they thinking?
What were they thinking, making a mass consumer device that people actually want to buy?
Yeah, right. Wait. Oh, you just lost like
a Fisher Price Wii U gamepad.
How many subs? you just lost so many subs.
Whoa.
Anyways, as I said, this thing isn't going to exist. But if it did, I just feel like I don't know how big of a success it would be, as it's clearly a budget device. But it's still one of those things. It's different enough from 3DS and DS that there's no really overlap there, and it's different enough from Switch, and it's cheap. So it just separates itself out from everything. But Nintendo already has games that could really work on it today.
Yeah.
So it just, I don't know. It's one of those things that I think with marketing, it could be a moderate success. For $100, it might be a massive success.
Yeah, right.
For all we know, the thing will sell 300 million units just because it's so damn cheap.
Right.
Again, this assumes that Nintendo would ever sell a device at $100, which I mean, I realize that new 2DS is only $79.99. Okay,
It's a 2DS. It's
Yeah.
also how old?
Yeah. Like imagine that 2DS was the 3DS at launch. Like it would have costed, maybe not $250, but it would have costed $200.
Yeah.
So it's like markets change. Let me see here. As Darren's like, we're cutting out. That's your internet.
No, my internet's been good. You cut out last week too, and the internet was good. It's all green on Discord.
No. I know what it says on Discord, but I can like hear back through the video on that we're actually live streaming. Everyone can hear me. So the only person who's having an issue is you.
Yo, boy. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. Maybe we should stop using Discord. Maybe
Da, 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 da. Topic 2.
No, we're not going back to Skype.
Who's sending them a Skype? You know, Google Hangouts is all the rage.
Google. Oh yeah, everyone's using Google Hangouts.
Actually,
yeah.
here's the funny thing. Like, if we actually do a second podcast that's live, it's going to be through the Google Hangouts anyways.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Because it's convenient. We're a YouTube entity, so it makes sense. Anyways, there you want to do with topic 2?
Yeah. Before we move on, thank you to @Pedro_Matos48 for asking our opinion on those comments from Takahashi. Topic 2 comes from @SpamOManoSpam, and it says this is a really, I don't want to call it a stupid topic. It's a nonsensical topic, but a really fun one. If you could pick a single classic rock artist to make all the music for all Nintendo franchises going forward, who would it be? That is a really nonsensical question, but I love
Well,
it.
obviously,
because
because
I
they
love
would assume
classic
that,
rock.
that a classic rock would work for every game.
Right.
Man.
Like, it's either going to be a train wreck or incredibly amazing.
Or it'll just be incredibly amazing but never fit the game.
Yeah.
It could be like those Sonic soundtracks that sound so amazing but never necessarily fit the level.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, can you imagine jamming out to, like, a Guns N' Roses soundtrack going through Mario Odyssey?
Yes.
I might already be doing that.
Yeah, I might do that already.
Just mute the audio on the game and just play what you want. Yeah. A lot of people
would be the
actually
first
do like that is one feature that needs to come to Switch is a custom music player because you can do that on Xbox. You can like mute the game and just listen to whatever music you want.
Oh, you can do that on PlayStation.
Yeah,
too, I
PlayStation
think.
2. Yeah. See, I don't have a PlayStation 4, so I was assumed it could do it.
Come on, Nintendo.
But come on,
don't have
Nintendo,
Netflix.
add this niche feature that only
Yeah.
a few people use when you still don't have achievements, still don't have a proper online system,
Or
don't
Netflix.
have an online account. You're making this use, don't have Netflix. You're making this use friend codes.
Yeah.
Out of all the things,
Yeah.
let me play music when I play games.
Mr. Eric, what classic rock artist do you think would work the best?
Oh, God. I want to say Nickelback just to piss everybody off.
That's not classic rock. That is not classic rock.
Well,
You
okay,
cannot-
define classic
Yeah,
rock,
right?
Because
Classic rock.
to us, like '90s and stuff, like dude, that's like 25 years ago.
Yeah, right?
Okay, I'm talking like 80s.
Okay, so you're
70s.
talking
Yeah,
80s
yeah,
rock,
yeah.
70s,
70s and 80s, let's say.
because we're at the age now that
I'm
classic
talking
would
like
include the
Metallica,
90s.
Guns N'
right.
Roses,
Yeah, yeah,
AC/DC,
you're right. No, and
Van Halen,
Yeah, yeah.
Aerosmith.
Yes.
But some of those still play today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
but when they were in their prime.
I know.
So wait, Guns N' Roses isn't still in their prime? How dare you?
No, have you listened to
Oh,
Chinese Democracy?
No, I don't listen
It
to rock.
sucks.
I don't listen to rock, so
I
do.
I just wanted to say it to piss people off. Granted, I actually like Nickelback, but
Well, so do I. I saw
I just
them in
wanted an
concert
excuse to
last
say
year. They were
Green
pretty
Day,
good,
so-
but
oh
they're
yeah,
not
there you go.
that's why I wanted to include the '90s. I couldn't remember if they were around in the '80s.
No, I don't think so.
All right,
Their
pick
heyday
your
was
90s bands if you want.
No.
No,
I
it's
will,
fine.
I will go back to the 80s.
It's okay. My
Those
answer is gonna
70s.
be beautiful. So
It's called. How do you go wrong with Journey?
Oh, yes,
You,
Journey.
you can't go wrong with Journey.
get the band back together. Come on.
Yeah, right.
Let's go. Let's go. Journey would be nice. I could be,
Styx,
I could
Boston.
be slashing through some Bokoblin hordes, jamming out to Journey.
Sure.
That'd be nice. Nate,
Oh,
I'm interested to hear your choice.
you could actually hold on. Sorry.
If you could pick a single classic rock artist to make all the music, what's that YouTube video that's like just 5 hours of silence?
I don't know.
Well,
A
that's
YouTube
what I
video.
would pick. I know it's not classic, But it's classic in my mind because whenever someone links it to me, like, this is what all the game music should be in this game, and it's just literally just it's nothing. It's the director gets up there and he goes to direct and nothing happens
Oh, I think you're talking about, what is it, 5 minutes and 20-some seconds?
of whatever.
Yeah, the music is the crowd.
Yeah.
And the reactions and
Yeah.
everything. The song is never the same because obviously you're never going to have
Yeah, because the crowd's just
exact
like,
same
what
reaction. Yeah.
what is happening?
Right, yep.
But I don't care about the reactions. I just care about the silence part. Like, they're doing nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there like, I don't want a classic. I don't like rock.
Yeah.
Even though I like certain classic rock songs. Eric knows about my affinity for certain Journey songs.
Yeah.
And AC. Like, there's certain ones I like because my dad loved 80s rock.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I got into certain songs. But, like, I don't like enough songs from any artist to pick one. There's not a single artist that I actually enjoyed even one entire album of.
Ooh, that hurts.
Because I'm not a rock guy.
Yeah.
And
That
like
hurts.
anyone who watches our live stream knows, I'm not a rock guy. I don't pay attention to rock songs. They're not interesting to me. They're not good. When I go to rock concerts, okay, cool. My ears are blown off. I couldn't hear the singer.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really matter. And then, like, even when I go back and, like, listen to Journey, I'm like, Journey's amazing. I love Journey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have one of my all-time favorite songs. Great. But then, like, when I listen to someone do a cover of it today, the cover singer is better than the singer that was in Journey. And and Eric's about to throw his headset and walk away.
done.
But I'm just like,
Sacrilege.
see, that's what I'm saying. I'm a terrible person to ask this question because I don't like rock.
I don't know if we can be
I guess
friends
this
anymore.
question hit home for me more than it
So
did.
silence. I would rather just have silence. And just the background noise.
Okay, there you
of the
go.
game.
There's your answer. Nate would rather not have a soundtrack at all.
No, take an example.
Rather
Breath of the Wild.
than a classic
Get rid of
rock
all
game.
the subtle music and just have the background noise.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. If a game can't be entertaining based on the noise happening naturally through the game, then it's a terribly designed game. Don't be reliant on the music. I know music can obviously help with mood. Blah, blah.
Yes,
I'm not devaluing music. I am devaluing classic rock.
And you just lost more subs.
Yeah.
You like what you like. I hate country. I hate
I knew
heavy
that.
metal.
Yeah.
Oh,
Even though there's certain
Kill
country
me.
songs I'm okay with, I can tolerate. Like, for some reason, I'm okay with Cruise. I don't know why. I just am.
Again, we can't be friends.
You and I know that we have different tastes.
Oh,
We disagree on comedy music. And we agree on certain, well, there are certain classic rock songs that we absolutely love and adore.
Yeah.
Like a certain one from Journey that we like to listen to
yeah.
pretty much anytime we can. But every time you put it on, I'd rather have the version sung by that one guy off American Idol. Because I think he had a better voice and did it better.
No.
I'm gonna end this right here. I don't know if I can listen to Nate crap on classic rock anymore.
It's not that it's bad. Everyone has their own taste.
Yeah.
I am
No, I
a
got
pop
you.
guy.
Yeah.
I like pop music. So-
Okay, we can't be friends.
But Darren, this isn't news. Backstreet Boys.
Right. No, I know.
Like
I've
NSYNC.
never, how long have I known you? I've
Jason
never known
Derulo.
this about you.
Honestly,
Come on.
Honestly, I was actually gonna say I was going to hold this to the end, but instead of this whole classic rock thing, just make a all the games just straight boy band music.
I'm down.
I mean,
I'm
I was
down
going to
with
say
that.
Michael Jackson, but he's not
Ooh.
rock.
There you go. Still,
That's the problem.
yeah.
We're limited to a genre that I'm not a big fan of, that I don't want in my games.
Okay, Nate, if you could pick any band in the world, like a well-known mainstream band, like from pop, country, rock, whatever genre you want, artist, what artist or band would that be?
I'm torn. Because it's either Backstreet Boys or Boyz II Men.
Ooh.
I say
that's-
Backstreet Boys.
But
I love them both.
Yeah, but Boyz II Men was
There's
they
and
were
both
fantastic.
both the bands are still singing to this day as a group.
right.
So like they're still around, still not as relevant because that kind of pop music isn't as popular
right.
anymore. Like as a solo artist, Jason Derulo is my favorite right now. So like I would want him to do everything, but he's not a band. That's a solo artist.
I
So-
said artist or band.
I'm pretty sure you just said band.
No, you did.
I made sure to say artist.
Oh, okay. Well, Jason Derulo is who I would pick, but that's because I prefer his music over everything right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I get down to some Jason Derulo, not gonna lie.
Dude, it's amazing. I like to dance. I can't dance to rock. I can dance to pop music. I know some people say, you can dance to rock. Okay, headbanging is not dancing.
Sure it is.
It's one move. If all you have is one move,
Nobody knew the moves.
Nobody knew the moves.
Like, what was that one?
No, man, you got your moshing.
okay.
You got your jump up and
So
down.
basically, you
I've
have
had more
you have
fun
your
in
head-
mosh pits
you
than
have-
I ever have dancing.
so you have your headbangs, and then you have your mosh pits, which cause serious injuries.
Yes, they do, and I adore
not?
them.
I've been in a mosh pit
If your
before.
mosh
I got
pit
stomped
lasts-
on. I'm like, this isn't fun. Who willingly throws themselves in a mosh pit to get wrecked? Unless you're the
Me.
big 7-footer that no one can knock down. And you're just everyone bounces off of you, and you
Yeah.
you step on them.
Right.
I've been knocked down before.
But did you get up again?
Yeah.
But did you get up again?
Yeah,
And they never could keep you down.
Yeah, because
Whenever all the mosh pits I've been in, whenever someone falls down, everyone stops what they're doing to pick them up. Obviously, that was not the case for you.
How many live concerts have you been to where there's like 20,000 people? Because when a mosh pit starts, nobody stops.
yeah,
It just goes.
yeah.
Like literally until security
mosh
comes
pit.
in and like starts breaking it up because they realize some people fell.
Yeah. And if your mosh pit lasts longer than 4 hours, you might want to consult a doctor.
I mean, I'm not trying to like. It's just like when I say I hate country, right? Like I'm not insulting people who like country. It's
I
weird
am.
because like there's certain well, like it's weird because like there's certain songs I'm okay with, and probably the ones that sound more like pop music. And then there's also the like the Nashville show. I don't know why. Probably because of Hayden Panettiere, but I actually can watch that show. And I'm okay with it. And I'm not really that annoyed. Granted, a lot of this is made up country songs that aren't real. But they still sound like country songs. But for some reason, I'm not bothered by it, probably because I don't have to hear it every day. Right? It's not, you know, like some people's complaints on radio is that you hear the same songs all the time every day.
Exactly. That's just
And, like,
it's not the same song every.
But like, I
every
don't get
episode.
annoyed by it when it's music I like. When it's music I don't like, well, if I only have to hear it once, who gives a crap? It's only once.
Yeah.
I can listen to a song once. It's just like when people pay $5 and have me play like heavy metal stuff. Like, sure, I'll pretend to like it. I really don't. My ears are bleeding. Maybe that's the point. Maybe your ears are supposed to bleed.
Yeah.
That's an enjoying factor.
It is.
I prefer to hear the singers. I care about the singing more than I care about the playing of the instruments. I prefer
There are
acapella.
some
Acapella.
amazing-
Why did I go with an acapella group?
Oh, why didn't we?
There are
No
some
strings attached.
amazing
Pentatonics?
metal groups where you
Pentatonics
can
is
hear
a
the
good
singer and the lyrics are distinguished. It's not all like screaming,
Yeah.
you know. But I mean, a majority of it is. But
So
there are
that's
some
what I said.
great-
A majority of country has that twang sound. So I hate that. Pisses me off. But like the one that doesn't, the one that some people don't consider real country, that's the one I liked.
Yeah.
That's the ones I like.
Yeah, that's not real country.
But I hate country. That's the thing.
So
Well,
why
that's-
wouldn't he like fake country if he liked?
That's what I'm saying. Makes
As an
sense.
example, you hate autotune.
Generally, yes. For the most part, yes.
I hate it for people who pretend they can sing good, but clearly they're using autotune because that means they can't really sing, or they can't. Maybe they can hold a tune for like 2 or 3 notes, but they don't have any range. So the autotune helps give them range, or whatever the case may be. I mean, every artist out there, by the way, is using autotune when they do professional studio recordings.
Oh, right.
That's why if you actually hear any artist sing live and they're really singing live, it doesn't sound as good because they're not because
Right.
they want it to be perfect,
Right.
And no one,
And-
most people can't sing.
In those
perfectly.
cases, I'm fine with it.
But people who clearly like a lot of R&B artists and stuff like use autotune, like Chris Brown, example. You hate Chris Brown. Lots of reasons that I hate Chris Brown, but autotune is something that he does a lot for almost every song. And I don't actually give a crap about autotune as long as the artist isn't pretending that they're good at singing. I don't give a crap about autotune. Doesn't bother me. You want to sound like a robot? Fine with me, man. I was an FL65 fan. You give me that robot sound.
Well, right. It depends on how it's done and whether it pisses me off or not.
It's just like some people that get mad every time DJ Khaled yells, DJ Khaled! I'm like, I don't know. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've kind of grown immune
his
to
thing.
that. It's just like Jason Derulo has to say Jason Derulo
Yeah.
at the beginning of
Yeah, he
every
does.
song. I'm Jason Derulo! Yeah, we know you're Jason Derulo.
Thank you.
Thanks,
In
thanks.
case I was forgetting who I was listening to, thank you.
And like, of course DJ Khaled is going to yell DJ Khaled because he's not a singer. He's a DJ.
Yeah.
So the only way he can get recognition is to yell, DJ Khaled. Like,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, how else are you going to get recognized as a DJ in today's world besides yelling your name when you're doing a mix?
Sure. Yeah.
Oh my
This
god!
is true. This is true.
I mean, seriously, how many
yeah.
DJs do you can you guys even name?
Well,
DJ Khaled.
I can name all the local ones.
There should be at least one other you guys can name. I'm actually drawing a blank on his name, but I know who he is.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Cadence from Club Penguin.
Yes. Yes.
Talk about real ones. Not
I
imaginary.
met her in Club Penguin.
Yes. Yes.
I was thinking.
She is real to Darren.
I was thinking
Yeah.
of Deadmau.
Oh.
Deadmau. Okay, if you're,
He's like the most famous one in the whole world, I think. I mean, DJ Khaled might have passed him in terms of how he's known because of how many songs he appears in.
Mhm.
But I know Deadmau is like one of the most well known.
Mhm.
Those are the only two I know though. When I think of like DJ specifically, besides like if you know like a local one that works at your rock store, like who aren't really DJs, they just play music. They don't actually mix anything.
Yeah.
Like I know one named Drew, who's gonna get married to one of my good friends, Nikki. He's a DJ. He does his own custom mixes, but I don't like his music. So
Oh.
they know it's not my kind of music. It's kind of rave kind of music. And don't be wrong, I've watched. He actually does live streams of it once in a while. I watch. I'm like, for rave music, it's all right.
Mm-hmm.
And it is kind of cool, like when he brings in all the black lights and doing all this crazy stuff. Because there's an entertainment factor to it.
Oh,
It's
for
cool, but it's kind of like. But after like 5 minutes, I'm ready for some new music. But yeah, that's kind of like the thing. Like, how many DJs do we really know? I don't know. I know we're way off topic, but that's because I don't like the topic.
Right. Well, I mean, Darren still has yet to give his.
Yeah. What? Give me your classic rock artist.
Okay. Little backstory. This is one of the bands that got me
Story
into
time with
music
Darren.
in general, and specifically rock, which led to metal because I'm a big metalhead.
Okay.
Back when I was like 10 years old, I started listening to AC/DC, and they're my all-time favorite band. So I would absolutely love to have a video game soundtrack be recorded by AC/DC. I don't care if it suck. I just want to know it exists and experience it because that would make me so happy. Even if it sucked, I could still laugh at it.
Okay.
Nice. I like it. I like it.
All right. I think this last topic, after I just pissed everyone off,
We're
all about to piss someone off.
This is gonna be great. We're gonna lose so many subscribers.
You know what? Here's the thing. We say that every time, but then we just gain more.
Hey.
Yeah.
So you know what's
guys
happening?
love-
We are gaining more
love
people
being
that agree with us than disagree, or the people that disagree just don't listen to the podcast.
And there's that.
Okay, topic
Here we go.
3 comes from @TDome85, and it is, what is the worst Nintendo franchise? This is gonna
guys can go before me.
ruffle a lot of feathers.
I don't want to take all the hate here.
What? You're gonna take all the hate anyways.
Yeah, this is true. You're gonna just take this conversation.
No, I'm gonna let you
Eric
guys.
and I will give our franchises, and people will be a little mad, but then you'll just
Blast some.
crap on some beloved franchise for 20 minutes straight. I know it's gonna happen.
Maybe I haven't actually decided yet.
I know.
I'm debating between 3 different franchises right now. So.
Pokemon sucks. Here's why.
No, guarantee that's not even in my consideration.
Okay.
Oh god.
Eric, why don't you go first?
Oh yeah. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Why? Because you don't
Hang
have
in
one
there.
picked either.
I have to say it is funny. I know I'm not supposed to be reading the comments on this, but it is funny that RoboP says that we're gaining subs while Channel Awesome burns to the ground. Not going to get into that drama, completely unrelated to our podcast. But Channel Awesome, they got some big no-nos happening over there right now.
Oh.
And they're a really huge channel, so we'll see if they survive it. They probably will. Everyone does. All those big channels somehow about that. If Logan Paul can survive Suicide Forest,
Yeah. There's that.
I'm sure they can bounce back from
Suicide Forest Gate.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
All right. We're avoiding this because we don't want to get some real hate.
Well, no, I'm avoiding this because I can't think of one.
I mean, even if it's not one you hate, it's what you dislike the most. Like, it says worst. It doesn't mean you can't like it.
I know.
It's just basically your least favorite.
I know.
Like, you think of all the Nintendo games you played. Like, what was the one franchise that you're like, eh?
God.
The keyword is franchise too. So, like,
I know.
franchise means it has to have let's set parameters. It has to have more than one game to be a franchise. So you can't be like, oh, 1-2 Switch. Like,
Yeah.
there's only one.
Right.
So it's not a franchise. Well, let's start with Darren. He picked
Yeah.
the topic.
Right?
All right, Darren will go. Let's see. Fire Emblem. That I hate. Just I love strategy, but for some reason I just can't get into Fire Emblem. Think it sucks. Not into anime, and it reminds me of anime. Therefore, I hate it.
Yeah.
Kirby. Kirby's mediocre. It sucks too. I know. I just
You're going
made
more
a
than
lot of
one,
people
huh?
mad. Yeah, I'm gonna go more than one. I'm gonna go two. Kirby and Fire Emblem. I know we talked a little bit about Kirby a while ago. I said I couldn't get into it, and I hadn't really played a lot of Kirby games. I tried over the past couple of weeks, and I just still no.
Can't get
No.
into the pink puffball.
No, don't like him.
It's also funny when you say like Fire Emblem. It can't help it, anime. Like Zelda is literally anime.
Yeah, it is
all the time.
And
The
that's
difference
one
is
of the
the difference
don't
is
like
it doesn't
about
have the corny still image anime cutscenes.
Mm-hmm.
that's what I hate.
Yeah,
That is like the anime trope I hate. Like
yeah.
they
even
just
do that in the
over
shows.
top.
We have a fully animated show. Now we're gonna stop and have like, here's a still image cutscene where the lip moves once in a while. It's like, but why are you having a cutscene in the anime? What?
Yeah.
Happens all the time too.
It does.
Oh man. Oh, I'm guessing Eric still doesn't have it. You can't think of even one.
No, I can't. I'm not good at this stuff. I'm not good at thinking on my feet.
This isn't even
Aren't
really.
you sitting down?
Fine, then I'm not good at thinking on my butt. Fine, Darren. Thanks.
Man,
You're welcome.
what would be my least favorite?
What is Nintendo Wars?
My least.
I'm looking at a list of Nintendo franchises and I see Nintendo Wars. Never heard of it in my life.
Who knows? It could have been one of those games that just never released. Was announced but didn't come out. Like,
okay, it includes Advance Wars, Battalion Wars,
Oh,
and Famicom Wars.
yeah, so it's just it's a collection pack.
Okay.
Let's see here. Am I gonna have to? I'm trying to. I'm even,
and Xenoblade Chronicles. I forgot to mention that that series.
well,
Sucks.
anime. So fits all your tropes.
Right.
It's not even that. I played Xenoblade Chronicles X, and the gameplay just sucked.
Then you haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles. X is completely different from 1 and 2.
I've looked at gameplay of 2, and it sucks just as bad.
Well, I'm not saying that you would enjoy it too. I'm just saying that X actually plays completely different. But it's okay.
That is what I've heard. Yeah.
But it is like obviously it doesn't mean you're going to enjoy it. It's not for everyone. I mean, it's a niche JRPG. I mean, JRPGs are kind of niche these days. So, let's see. Let me see. Nintendo franchise.
No, that's the.
'Cause, like, part of me wants to go with like, and I can't though. I can't because, I mean, this might be the one I pick, but it's not because it's bad. Just I like it the least out of all of the ones I play. But let me think.
Nintendogs.
No,
No.
I like Nintendogs. That's the thing. Like, it's easy to cop out with like Nintendogs or like
Yeah.
the Wii line of games.
Mhm.
But like I don't know, like I don't think when this question was posed by TDome85 on Twitter, they're like, oh yeah, they're just gonna talk about the obvious,
Mhm.
you know, the family oriented games. I'm gonna look up a few things in case I'm forgetting one before I say this one. 'Cause I will get shot if I say this one.
Oh, yeah, we told you.
See, I knew
We
it.
told you.
I knew it. Eric and I were going to say our franchises, and then Nate is going to go on this long rant about how he hates this one beloved franchise that's so nostalgic for everybody. If you say Animal Crossing, I will leave this podcast.
Is that a promise?
Yes.
Animal Crossing it is.
Thanks for making up my mind.
Animal Crossing it is.
Oh man, I'm really torn between two.
Just say the two.
One's F-Zero.
Ooh.
I would agree with you on that one. To a
Whoa.
certain extent. I
Wow.
love the first one. The second one is just,
I didn't like any of them.
yeah.
Like,
know.
here's the thing. it's weird when I say that I don't like F-Zero because like part of it is because I'm not really into like the super high speed stuff. So there's a personal preference there, and that's what differentiated F-Zero from everything was super high speeds. And then some people say, "But you play 200cc Mario Kart." I'm like, I understand that, but it's Mario Kart,
And that's also
it's a different kind of game, a different kind of racing game.
It's not a high like the world you can actually still see going by you. Where in F-Zero, it's like flying past you, and you can.
If you play the F-Zero stage and on 200cc, you can't see shit.
Well, yeah, there's that, but that's also F-Zero.
But like it. I just never really got into it. I didn't really enjoy my time with it. It was just mostly frustrating.
I love the
because I wasn't good at it. Obviously, that's obviously part of the reason. When you're not good at it, you're not having fun.
Right.
It's not one of those games that like you could just suck at and still have a good time. It's feels like one of those games you got to be good at. You can take my phone. You have your own.
No, I don't.
Dead. Well, too bad. The other. Hold on. I better unlock it for you because it's a facial recognition.
Oh,
These smart devices. There you go.
Oh, God.
Actually, it might have unlocked for you because I'm at home. I think I have it set to automatically unlock at home, which is a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
So there's that one. And it's not, I don't have anything against it. It's just, it's not for me, if that makes sense. I'm totally cool with demanding it come back. I don't know. I out of all the racing, like I'm not a big racing game guy anyways. But I'm just not that into it. I'd rather play ARMS. And ARMS isn't technically a franchise yet. Oh man, this other one, I'm going to get murdered. F-Zero, I figured it might upset a couple people, but I don't know how many of you guys out there have even played F-Zero at this point.
I mean, like I said, I get the second one. The first one I actually enjoyed a lot, mainly because of the Death Wheel. But
yeah, I know you like Death Wheel, but like I just really wasn't that into it. This last one, oh boy.
I swear.
I'm going to get murdered.
I swear, Nate.
To be fair, F-Zero is very clearly my worst Nintendo franchise. It's the only one I just legit don't have that much fun with. I don't think it's bad. It's not for me at all. Okay, so let me just clarify with that this next one is not my worst. And I'm going to clarify a few reasons on this next one. It's Animal Crossing.
Oh, I'm leaving. Goodbye, everybody. See you later.
See here?
Nate.
Oh, I thought you actually left for a second. No. I was like, thanks for being a prime example of someone who can't accept others' opinions.
Right.
Here's the thing.
I'm still here. I'm interested to hear why.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm
like legitimately curious.
Yeah, it's a little bit similar to the Pokemon thing with me, where like the first one on GameCube, I think it was the first one on GameCube, loved it.
The first one was on N64 in Japan, but GameCube in the US.
Do I live in Japan?
No.
So fuck you.
Okay.
So, interrupting
he doesn't like your game, and he doesn't like you. How do you like that?
So no, I was the GameCube one I like a lot, or at least I did back then. It was just such a unique game to me at the time. Like I had played The Sims and other games that sometimes get compared to it, but it was just unique with the animals and the quests. Because you don't really have quests in Sims. It's just kind of you live your life and you do whatever you want, kind of thing. Whereas like they would give you tasks and you always you owed Tom Nook and blah blah blah. Like it was a really novel, neat concept. And I liked it. And I manipulated my in-game clock because it's life. I'm not always there when the events are happening, so I'd force the events to happen.
That's life, Nate. Sometimes you gotta miss stuff because you have a busy
But guess
schedule.
what? This is Animal Crossing and it ain't real. Do whatever the hell I want.
You're supposed to make it real.
Whatever. I do what I want.
You're supposed to be immersed.
How can I be immersed if I am too busy to be there for the immersion?
Sounds like a you problem.
It really wasn't a you problem when I could adjust the game clock back then. Anyways, so like that's obviously one of my number one complaints in the later Animal Crossing games is it made it really hard to adjust the clock to enjoy the events. And I understand why that's the case, especially now that there's online stuff and they have global events and it affects other players sometimes. Like, I get it, but it's still one of those things where I'm like, but here's the deal. Like, on July 4th, I'm too busy. I have a family. I have a life. I can't participate in these events when they're happening anymore, because when those events are happening are always holidays and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, and I got a family to raise. So I can't sit down and play Animal Crossing for 3 hours on a holiday. But what I can do is when I finally have a free weekend, turn the clock on my system and actually enjoy the holiday events. And the thing is, like, it's such a minor complaint, right? Because like it's a fundamental part of Animal Crossing. They never intended you to mess with the your system clock and change. Like, I understand that I was doing it unintentionally, but I was doing it unintentionally to my own personal benefit. I don't play Animal Crossing to play with others. I don't give a crap about playing with others in Animal Crossing. I don't care about showing off my house like some people do. I just care about taking over the town, becoming mayor, paying off my debts, living in my own little world. And in my own little world, it's Christmas every day. Not always, but I did do that for a little bit on GameCube, where I'd reset it to Christmas all the time. But like, there's that. Like, the issues I have with Animal Crossing are more or less that I just don't enjoy it as much as I used to, and I'm not exactly sure. Like, I play Pocket Camp. I realize Pocket Camp is not the greatest example in the world. Go play New Leaf, whatever. Like, New Leaf's like the last good Animal Crossing game, because that's just like saying, oh, I played Amiibo Festival. Like, okay, like, come on. But like, I'm playing Pocket Camp, and it has a lot of the same things I remember from Animal Crossing, right? You're collecting, you're doing quests, you're not necessarily paying off a debt per se. You're just building up your campsite and doing things. And then I went back and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go watch some videos of the old GameCube one, because that was my favorite one. And I'm like, you know what? A lot of this stuff is just the same. And I think my issue with that franchise, and it's probably the only franchise I have this particular issue with, is that it's just too samey. Like, you progress all this, you invest hundreds of thousands of hours, then a new one comes out and you gotta do it all over again. It's almost just like why I'm not really interested in Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. It's like, I've already done it twice. Why would I do the exact same stuff again a third time? And that's what it kind of feels. And I realize this isn't saying they don't add new content, new quests, new characters, new things to do. They obviously do. Animal Crossing is one of the most popular franchises. But even more so than Pokemon, it just feels too samey to me every time. Like, I own New Leaf. I legit owned New Leaf and invested like a couple dozen hours in it. And I'm like, okay, I've done all this before. It doesn't feel new to me.
Your cycle,
almost ironic.
Your cycle of days, you're just kind of doing the same thing over and over and over again. Like,
despite the new elements, it's not like Zelda, right? Like, Zelda tries to reinvent itself almost every time it comes out. Now, I understand that there's some sameness to it and this and that, but like, it's different enough, and it's also a type of game that I enjoy more, right? Like, I'm not that big into like these. I don't want to call it a casual game. I think does it a disservice for what it is. But I can't think of a better way to describe it. Like, it's a laid-back game that you play whenever you feel like it, and you manage a town. And I'm just not that big into those games in the first place. But I still really enjoyed the first time around. But doing it again and again and again. I mean, the same thing happened with Harvest Moon. I loved running my own farm the first time. But then again and again and again. And it's like, okay, well, I've been doing this. As long as so many times I can grow a carrot and have a good time. Only so many times I can milk a cow and have like you're just doing the same thing again. And some franchises are. I mean, that's not a bad thing, obviously, because it's still popular. But yeah, it is one of those things that sometimes certain franchises, for me in this case, do get stale because they're just too samey every time. Zelda, as I said, it's just been really wonky to me, especially over the last 10 years. Like, they've just done so many different things with it. But even then, for some people, Zelda got too samey. Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess are too much alike. Some people complain about that. But are you ignoring Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons, the Minish Cap, and all the games that came in between? Like, there was other games that made me not think Twilight Princess was too samey because I had played all the other games. So I think that's just where I kind of stand with it. Like, Pocket Camp, in a way, is a bit of fresh air in that it's different. Because you're on vacation and you're still doing similar tasks, but for slightly different reasons. And I'm okay with that. In bite-sized chunks, I'm okay with that. I still play Pocket Camp once in a blue moon. But
yeah, Pocket Camp is different from other Animal Crossings, like mainline Animal Crossing games, in the fact that it's not good.
Oh, snap.
And here's the thing. You are someone who's going to think that because you love Animal Crossing.
Right.
So, like, you probably enjoyed every mainline Animal Crossing game.
And I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I enjoyed Pocket Camp for a couple days, but it just made me want a new Animal Crossing, a proper one more.
Yeah, and see, I don't get that desire when I play it because I'm like, I don't want a proper Animal Crossing because it's just going to be the same thing I did in New Leaf, which is the same thing I did in the games before, the same thing I did in the game before that.
Yeah, Pocket Camp is not for me, but you know, you would probably like it a lot more than I do. Apparently.
Yeah, the thing, I'm not like Pocket Camp's the greatest thing ever. It's a very good mobile game. It's a very good mobile representation of Animal Crossing. I think everyone can agree on that. It's a good taste.
mobile game, and I don't like mobile games.
Yeah, and it's a good taste.
Yo.
It really is. It's a good taste, and it's supposed to interact with whatever new Animal Crossing game's coming next.
So is this where I throw in the mandatory plug for Tab Sports Baseball? Because mobile game? Sorry. Okay, keep going.
But that's the thing. Like, I'm not... Well, people got to remember, like, when I say things like I haven't played Pokemon in a long time, and I haven't felt it's been good for a while, or I don't enjoy Animal Crossing as much as I did when I was younger, you know, nostalgia or whatever you want to call it. This isn't me saying the games are bad. It's just me saying that, you know what, as I grew up, I just got kind of bored with it. And I feel like that has to be a feeling that's allowed to exist. Like, we're allowed to grow up and have our tastes change.
No, you must.
Like, when I went back and watched the GameCube version, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that, and man, that is boring. Like, I'm watching this, and it's like watching paint dry.
Yeah.
And literally, we would just watch paint dry.
Hey, we did.
It wasn't that much fun. The only fun parts were listening to music, which had nothing to do with the paint dry.
Yeah.
Like, the actual act of watching that paint dry wasn't that exciting. I'd rather just paint and have it be dry.
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't have that kind of patience as a gamer anymore.
Yeah.
Like when Skyward Sword came out back in 2010,
2011.
11, okay. You know, I loved it, but now if I had to sit and play through it again, I'm not as patient. I'd be like, really? I don't want to deal with this.
Well,
now.
I'm that way with, like, I'm always that way at the beginning of Zelda games now. Outside of Breath of the Wild, like tutorials, I'm done. I don't need it. Skyward Sword was an exception at the time due to the motion controls, but now that I've played through it a few times, it's like, all right, can we
give me the option to skip?
Can we skip 5 hours ahead where the game gets good? Because I don't need all the tutorials. I know how everything works now. But like that, I mean, that's even a good example. Like I don't hate Animal Crossing. That's why it's not my bottom friend. Like, I don't hate F-Zero, but I legit have never enjoyed F-Zero.
Right.
I've actually enjoyed Animal Crossing before. And I legit was a massive fan of Pokemon at one point. So much so that even if I haven't enjoyed recent entries, it's not something like I can sit there and be like, oh, Pokemon is my least favorite franchise because I haven't enjoyed it. Like, no.
Pokemon is absolute trash.
Pokemon used to be my life, man. I can't. No way. Used to be way more into Pokemon than I am Zelda. But Harvest Moon, because I did mention Harvest Moon. Animal Crossing is just one of those things where I think I just kind of outgrew the type of game it is. And I'm not saying that means because it's for kids. It's just my taste in gaming is kind of, I don't want to say mature. It cured to a point where I start enjoying different games. Like, I used to be massively into JRPGs, but I barely play them anymore. Some of it's time constraints. Other of it's because I just enjoy different types of games now. You know, some people might make this argument, oh, Call of Duty's the same thing every year. Fine.
Yeah.
I understand that argument. It's a first-person multiplayer shooter that comes out every year.
Right.
There's a lot of sameness to that.
Everybody could say
But
Madden's the
I don't
same.
get bored with it because I'm more into those games than I was when I was growing up.
Everybody could say Madden's the same. Oh, wait. It kind of...
Well, that's the thing.
In
Like,
a way,
and
it pretty
some
much is.
games, that, like, that's the thing. Some games can be like, just like Animal Crossing, like sports games. I love sports games. I played basketball this year. Playing basketball next year. Playing football this year. Playing football, like, but I enjoy those games more, so it doesn't bother me as
Also,
much.
at the same point in time, when you actually boot these games up, you're not going to go do the exact same thing that you just did yesterday. Like the games are, they're random. You know what I'm saying? It's the events aren't basically you go over here, you pick this apple, you walk over here, you fish for a little while, you walk over here, you do this, and then you basically do that same routine almost every day.
You kick off the ball, you return it. I call my favorite pass play, my favorite run play. I do the same thing every game. Some I win, some I lose. The outcome, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, if you think about it, like, it actually is kind of repetitive. The difference is I enjoy that type of game versus another.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't enjoy Animal Crossing as much as I did when I was younger, and I don't really have any true explanation as to why. It's just like with Pokemon. I don't know why.
Yeah.
We actually had that really in-depth discussion once on Pokemon, and it almost felt like we were finally starting to figure out why. We went through a myriad of reasons that I didn't really think was it. That was when I was telling you, but Pokemon has done that. When you were telling me what would make you get back into Pokemon, but Pokemon has done that. Pokemon has done this. And then we finally hit that point where we're like, wait a second, maybe it's not really anything specific. It's this general overall feeling of not feeling welcome and
and
the lack of, I even mentioned at the time, like, forced tutorials. Like, I want forced tutorials in Pokemon games when you're so disconnected from the franchise. Instead, a lot of them are like, yeah, we have them, but you need to go seek them out at this one building and talk to people. And the thing is, I was cool with that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But now that I'm older, I'm like, do I want my handheld more? Kind of. And it's weird because when I was younger, I'm like, no, I'm cool. Like, I don't know what to do in Ocarina of Time when I'm dropped in Kokiri Forest. Well, go talk to everyone and figure it out. But in Pokemon, I don't really play Pokemon to talk to people and figure it out. Tell me what I need to know and let me play. Or don't tell me anything and then I just lost and no one's happening.
Right. And I think
so it's a difference in
part of my thing was with Pokemon. I don't think I got that the one idea that you had said that Pokemon had done that I said would, probably make it a little bit better is basically have it be its own complete game. No, I'm serious. I'm dead serious. Like, each new generation have it be its own complete game where it is you don't go back and catch any of the old Pokemon. You don't. All
like
you do
Sun
is
and Moon.
The exact
They
new
just
ones.
did that. That's what I was telling you. They literally just did that.
So you can't go back. No, but you still can trade anything up and into it, right?
Well, but all the games are connected that way. But within the game, it's got its own Pokedex, and there's no capturing old Pokemon. You can capture all the Pokemon in that Pokedex in the game. So it literally is what you're talking about, just it still has that Pokemon Bank connection. So if you want to drag your old Pokemon in, you still can, because it's an interconnected Pokemon world. But the games themselves exist in their own thing on islands and stuff. So that's what I was saying. Like, they kind of did that, and it still wasn't good enough. Because I don't think I think like with Pokemon, we get to that point where we even talked about like being able to catch all the Pokemon in one game or whatever.
Right.
Like.
And I also think the demo didn't do it any justice.
Well, of course, we were
that
turned
was
off
probably
by the demo.
that was probably some of it.
And some people thought the demo was fantastic. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things where like the Pokemon discussion will be much more fun when Pokemon Switch finally comes. Because I've been on record saying I'm putting at least 30 hours in. I'm going to beat the main story. Don't know if I'm going to do anything else, but I will beat the main story, and then we're going to talk. We're going to have a conversation about, all right, I love Pokemon, and this is why. Yada, yada, yada. I love this game. Or it's going to be like, now I know what I didn't like. And the thing is, I don't always do that with games where I'm like, oh, if I'm not having a good time, I'll just stop playing. But I know that I have this innate curiosity to figure out why the hell don't I enjoy Pokemon anymore when I used to love it.
Right.
And maybe I'll find out, well, maybe I would have loved the older games too if I had just put the time in. Maybe I just don't like how the beginning of the game works. But because because like there's always those games that somebody's get, oh yeah, you only got 5 hours and you should have waited. The game gets awesome at hour 15.
Right.
And for some people that's really annoying. And that's the thing. I don't know why I don't like it. But I'm going to find out. I'm either going to find out why I like it or why I don't. And maybe I've been wrong this whole time. And maybe I would have loved the older games if I would have gave them more of a shot.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't know.
But again, that's why I'm going to be giving Pokemon Switch a shot. That's why, even with Animal Crossing, like I could talk about all these things, but I mean, I only put, 24 hours or so into New Leaf. Is that enough time for a game like that? Not really. Not for the type of game it is. So, like, if a new Animal Crossing comes out on Switch, maybe I should play it and try to give it that Pokemon treatment. Like, let me figure out what it is about this that made me just not want to keep playing. Or maybe I end up getting super addicted and I love it all over again and I'm reliving my childhood and I'm having a blast. That's the thing. It's what got me out of it. Was it the game or was it that I got into other things? Like, I list Animal Crossing as, like, I guess my second least favorite Nintendo franchise. But is that because I chose to play and get into other games? Like, is it because of the amount of games I play? Or is it because I just didn't enjoy it. Like, why did that get... Like, why is Zelda... No matter how many games I'm playing, I will stop what I'm doing and play a new Zelda game. But then I won't do that for Animal Crossing. Won't do that for Pokemon.
Yeah,
Why?
I don't know.
What happened? So that's something I need to figure out. I don't know. Darren probably hates me.
Is Darren still here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I heard him
so
breathe
here,
once
I'm,
or twice.
I'm listening. I'm trying to hold my tongue.
Well, the thing is, Darren, I'm not. I hope it doesn't sound like I'm insulting Animal Crossing.
No, I honestly, this has been interesting for me to hear. You know, I mean, there are games, you know, that you talk about, you know, I don't know why I don't like this game. I just don't.
That's the way it is with Pokemon. Like, I always think I know, and then the more I talk about it, I'm like, well, you know, maybe that's not really it. And especially when I start talking to people who know more about Pokemon than I do. They're like, well, they actually fixed that here. Oh, okay. Well, that's obviously not it then. And maybe all of it's a perception thing. Maybe all my issues with Pokemon are that I just refuse to play it. And if I had, I would have realized that all the issues I had aren't actually an issue. Like,
And honestly,
but
with-
and that could be the same with Animal Crossing. Like,
Yeah.
but the thing is, I played the most recent one and I felt that way. So like that's why I'm not as out of touch with Animal Crossing. I didn't play Amiibo Festival. I'm sorry if that makes me out of touch, folks.
no,
Oh,
that
I
does-
didn't. You know
I
what?
did not play Amiibo Festival.
I owned Happy Home Designer at one point. And I didn't play that
I did
either.
not own that.
It came with my new Nintendo because I bought one of those new Nintendo 3DS with the faceplate things, and the only way you can get that was Happy Home Designer Edition. Immediately changed out the faceplates for imported Zelda ones from Japan.
Well, duh.
But I never played it, so like I don't, I don't know. But the thing is, I played Pocket Camp and I had an okay time, but like I'm not playing it every day.
The Pocket Camp. The one problem I have with Pocket Camp is, you get all these people. You invite them over to your house, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is my view. Who cares? I don't care.
That's just the beginning.
I don't care.
That's the one character.
I don't care.
They don't do that the whole game. Yeah, I love that. Like, Animal Crossing is all about designing your camp the way you want. And then there's one guy, hey, look at my future vision for your camp. Do you like it? I don't care. It's not
yours.
Yeah. It's my camp. If I want a hot jacuzzi in the middle with a frog in it, I will do that.
Yeah. So
But
it makes
I
it look
don't.
like he's boiling.
But I don't. Making frog soup.
Yeah.
Frogolina soup.
Right.
Froggy. What? Oh, my God. I love the Froggy books. Love the one. Now my kids love them. So I think that's going to wrap it up, I think, for this podcast.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, wait.
What?
Did you give a least favorite?
No.
And I know you grabbed my phone.
Huh?
Yeah, I know you grabbed my phone, so you must have something in mind.
Honestly, again, it's not one of those things that it's necessarily that I hate the game.
Least favorite.
It's Star Fox. I know.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
We're going to go. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
No, I know. Right? Hey, now it's your turn to hate me.
Nah, I don't hate you.
No. Certain aspects of it are fun, but it's just kind of okay. You're shooting down polygons. Hooray. Okay. I mean, I can have fun with the multiplayer, but single player is just kind of meh.
But you love Rogue Squadron, right? Not a Nintendo franchise, but
I'm trying to remember.
it's a similar type of
I think
franchise.
so. I don't know. I'm trying to remember what.
You don't remember Rogue
Yeah.
Squadron?
Yes, I think I did.
Because we played the hell.
Yeah,
out of
I
that.
know I did.
We played the
Yes,
hell out of
yeah,
Star
yeah.
Fox 64 too, but
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it's just thinking back on it. I don't know. I think it's just kind of it's an okay game.
and to be
It's just
clear,
kind of,
you did not play the most recent Star Fox.
What, Star Fox 2?
Well, not Star Fox 2. I'm talking about.
Oh.
I mean, technically, that's the most recent new release. Wait,
I was gonna say I have seen it.
Star
played.
Fox Zero.
No, I have not played that.
Okay.
But
I mean, it's okay. Some people think it's the worst one in the franchise, but
right.
but it is technically the most recent flavor. So it's like if you play that, because then it's definitely
Right.
not polygons. It's HD.
Right. And that might change my opinion, but at least the old polygon ones are kind of just they're not, like I said, they're not terrible games.
Well,
They're just
here's my thing. Like when you're just shooting polygons, I'm like, that's what every game was back then.
yes and no.
Especially if we're talking about the SNES version. Like, okay, do you remember Mario Kart on SNES. 2D sprites, where your question blocks were flat pixels on the ground.
Yes, but these at least had details.
There's details in Star Fox for the time. That was intensity. Like it was a bit like an attempt at a 3D game on a platform that can't do 3D.
Right? No. I get the revolutionary aspect.
Okay. So let's move past that one. Because Star Fox 64 was where we played. At least my fondest memories were Star Fox 64.
Yeah.
Okay, that one was obviously not polygons. I mean, yeah, we know, guys, compared to today's polygons. But there was detail back then.
Mm-hmm.
Even all the banter between Slippy, Toad, Fox.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things that, again, it's just kind of... I don't know if I can really, truly explain it.
Then there's Star Fox Adventures on GameCube.
I haven't played that either, but...
It's a really different one because you get out of the ship and...
Yeah.
Blah, blah.
I don't know. It's...
I mean, it's okay. Just like me with Animal Crossing. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah. No,
I'm just trying to get to the bottom of, like, what about it? Like,
right.
The shooting polygons, that's a graphical thing.
Right. And I think a lot of it has... to do with just because that's the one I played the most.
Was on the SNES.
Yeah. And it's a... The game is... I don't know.
It's an on-rail shooter.
Right.
For most of it.
Right.
There's a couple open areas, especially as we got to the 64 and out. But most of the game is on-rail shooter.
Mm-hmm. I think that's...
Well, that's what Rogue Squadron is.
From
I think why maybe you might even like Rogue Squadron more back then was because, well, aspects of it were on rails. It was a lot more open all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could still fly anywhere,
mm-hmm.
Until you got to the outer limits and it made you turn around, just like it does in Star Fox. So, I think I mean, is there any on-rails game you even enjoy that much?
I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Well, it's basically arcade games.
Yeah, right.
Because Star Fox is very much built like an arcade game.
Right.
I mean, it's okay if there's not.
I know. I'm just trying to think of one. I'm drawing a blank.
Obviously, there's always those shooter ones, blah, blah, blah. That you...
Right.
Like my favorite on rails one right now is actually that dang Jurassic Park game they have now. At all the arcades. It's so fun.
I'm trying to think of... there was the one that we had at my old work that Chris and Eric and I we'd 1/4 high score it, and we kind of broke the joysticks on it because for some odd reason they thought it would be the greatest idea to regen your bombs by smashing your joystick back and forth. So of course you'd run out of bombs, so you immediately start spamming your joystick back and forth.
Then again, they probably didn't plan on people to be trying to one-score high score. They were thinking of children. That probably wouldn't even figure out how to reload their bomb.
Right. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. I can't remember the name of it though.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. Just again, I got I'm kind of trying to take the nostalgia goggles of Star Fox off. Because I do have fond memories of it, but
I have fond memories of the 64 one.
Right.
Like it's hard for me to look at that and be like, that's not a good game. Like they remade it on DS or 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it there too. So it's like, I still liked it, but I realized like it was a lot of games nostalgia. But then also I always point out this as well. Nostalgia is a positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you look up the definition of nostalgia, there's nothing negative there.
Mm-hmm.
So like when people are like, oh, the nostalgia goggles, it's like, so what?
Mm-hmm.
That means I'm basically euphoric. That is amazing. We should all want to be nostalgic about every game we play.
Right. Yeah. So
But
I mean, it's
gamers obviously. Oh yeah, it's not really as good as it used to be. I'm like, no. Here's the thing: you probably were never nostalgic for it because you didn't enjoy it back then either.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I enjoyed it back then, still enjoy it now.
Yeah.
But I get it. It's cool.
Yeah,
it's cool.
It's kind of hard for me to explain, but I could see it in my head, and it's just kind of
it's just like with Animal Crossing. Like, I don't have anything negative to say beyond the difficulty of changing the time clocks for my own personal taste.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond, like, I don't have anything bad to say. It's just I either outgrew it. It got too repetitive. I can't quite pinpoint it, but there's just something about it. I'm like, I didn't really enjoy New Leaf that much. I
Mhm.
didn't really enjoy anything since the GameCube version.
Mhm.
And I probably have nostalgia glasses there, but whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad IP. It's more popular today than it's ever been.
Yeah.
I just technically Pokemon is not more popular today than it's ever been, unless you count Pokemon Go. Technically, none of the games have sold as best as the old school games, but
That's
it
right.
is what it is. Pokemon Go is the one exception. Like Pokemon Go,
I would count Pokemon Go. It's part of the franchise.
yeah, I mean it is part of nothing's ever been bigger than Pokemon Go.
Right, well,
Nothing will probably. I mean, Nintendo's not going to get 300, 500, a billion players. I don't even know what it topped out at, but it felt like a billion on Switch.
Yeah.
They're not going to sell that many. So, all right, I think that's going to do it then. I think we're good.
Yeah.
I want to thank Darren obviously for showing up
and providing the
Hey.
topics.
and providing the topics.
Yay.
He leaned heavy on the fan topics, but you know what? That is okay. It is okay to lean heavy on the fan topics. We haven't had a lot of good fan topics in a while because people don't submit them.
Mhm.
So that's a good time for me to remind you guys that you can submit fan topics to Nathan@NintendoPrime.net, or I'm going to toss this out, Eric@NintendoPrime.net.
There you go.
Because
And I'm going to toss this out, Darren@NintendoPrime.net.
there you go. Now I don't know how often you guys check your NintendoPrime.net email. Like you have no reason to.
No,
unless you,
not now. Now I will.
I get a notification.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, like, I obviously check mine every day. I have lots of stuff going through. But, like, honestly, if you really want your fan topic, like on the podcast, I would seriously probably email Eric or Darren instead of me so it doesn't get lost in my... Because I have, like, tons of business emails that come in. Like, I'm dealing with one with Wrath Power right now and a couple other things. So, it's kind of like...
First off,
Or tweet me, or
I would-
DM me. Guarantee get a hold of me if you tweet me.
yeah.
Yeah, you can tweet me and DM me, but I might forget about it by the time the podcast
Right.
rolls around. That's what sucks about it. Like, I get too many tweets, too many DMs.
If you really, really, really want to try to get your thing on the podcast, become a Patreon.
Go to
member.
Nate's house.
Oh, that's true.
Patreon member.
If you do become a Patreon member and you we don't put up a post for fan topics, but basically if you are part of our Patreon for as little as $1 a month, because the podcast does eventually become public for all of the patrons. On the podcast episode we post up there, if you post a fan topic comment, I do read all those. I read every comment on our Patreon. And it's easy to do that because there's only like 3 of them a week. But
Hey.
I will read every single one, even if there was 1,000. You guys know how it is with our live streams. Like when we have our Q&As on Fridays, I literally read every question, no matter how far behind in chat I am.
Mhm.
I don't know how long I'll be able to do that for.
Yeah, right.
The more popular the Q&As get, the the less feasible that is, because I will be answering questions from 8 p.m. until forever.
8 p.m.
It'll be
next day.
it'll be never ending.
It's the never-ending
So I'll eventually have to start
story.
skipping some, but for now everything's being read. And on Patreon, no matter what, if we got up to 8,000 plus patrons, I would read every comment, guaranteed.
Mhm.
Because, and I'm not saying that to like lessen other people that aren't on Patreon, but we get thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of comments on YouTube. I can't read them all the time. I
Oh,
try
right,
to.
right. Yeah.
I try really hard to read all of them, but I can't always do that. Whereas on Patreon, it's like I have incentive to make the effort because these are people that are paying for me to do what I do.
Right.
They
They're
are
paying you to
subscri-
see this.
They are literally paying me. Whereas other people, yeah, maybe they have YouTube Red, but I don't know if you have YouTube Red. There's no indicator to me that you have YouTube Red. There's no indicator to me, that you're even getting ads and not using ad blockers or whatever. But on Patreon, I know they're paying me at least $1.
Mhm.
So if you're going to give me money, I could take time out of my day to actually read your comments.
Right. And it's another good
And you guys know I read a lot of the comments anyway. So, like, you guys shouldn't feel left out anyways. But
way to plug Patreon.
sure, patreon.com/NintendoPrime.
Yeah, because that's the whole reason why you guys are seeing this right
another,
now.
Another thing I should toss out here is we are on iTunes. I don't mention it very often because I don't use Apple phones anymore, but we are on iTunes. And after this podcast is fully edited and live and everything, we always have a link to our iTunes version. If you have iTunes, even if you don't want to subscribe to our podcast, what I would appreciate you do if you're someone who listens to it on YouTube every week and you prefer the video version or whatever, please go to iTunes and rate us. And you don't have to even give us a good rating if you don't think we're good. just give us any sort of rating. It really helps out the awareness for our channel to have more reviews. And, like, leave feedback as well. Like, don't just hit that, I'm going to give you a 5-star. Like, leave feedback as well. What do you love about the podcast?
If you want to give us a 5-star, let us know.
Yeah.
Or if you want to give us a 1-star, let us know why.
Like we want that feedback. And I do read all of the reviews all the time. Because I always want to make this podcast better as best as I can, whether it's a better green screen action, better lighting, that's just in general, but better conversation points, better guests.
Yeah.
Maybe I suck, and Eric needs to take over the whole podcast,
I need to leave.
and I need to go under the table and make the magic happen. I mean, you guys let me know what you want.
Oh, boy.
Prime things
Happening
happening here.
I want us to be on Google Play. That's what I want. That's where I listen to all my podcasts.
I haven't figured out how to get on Google Play yet. So if you guys know how to do that, link me up, let me know. I'm sure there's a tutorial somewhere.
Here's a hint. Very carefully.
Very careful. Because we already have a feed up. We use Podbean. We're on Podbean. That's how you can get us on Android and stuff. You can also get that on Apple. But I use Google Play, so I should probably figure it out as well. Even though I don't really listen to my podcast back again very often once it's edited and up. But, yeah, that's really all we got. You could follow Darren at RealDern on Twitter, as he said. He reads everything that you tweet at him or DM him or whatever. So if you want to get direct contact with him, probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, if you want to send me hate mail, that's where to do it.
You can also, obviously, if you have something that you really want to keep Nintendo Prime specific for some reason and don't want public to know about it because you don't want to tweet at them and you guys don't follow each other, so a DM can't happen.
My DMs are open, I think.
Your DMs are open? Okay, mine are not.
I believe so.
There's a reason mine are. I have mine open for a day. No.
How about now?
How about no to the 500 new DMs?
Yeah.
I can't have it. Oh, anyways, you can also email him, Darren at NintendoPrime.net. Eric is also on Twitter. I'm still shocked.
Yeah, I know.
At
I don't do anything.
Emo8790. That's EMOH8790. Also, you can contact him, Eric at NintendoPrime.net.
I know. These email addresses are real tough.
Well, these are professional email addresses.
I know.
We're legit, right?
Whoa.
We're legit.
We're too legit to quit. No.
And you can obviously follow us at Ninty, Ninty Prime on Twitter, or you can follow my personal Twitter. I don't tweet on it very often, but at Nate Jantz, and then Nathan at NintendoPrime.net. That's really all you guys need to know. I think we're good. I think that's it. I think that's peace out.
A-Town.
Oh, almost made it.
Dang.
All right, we're done. Oh, I might as well read the chat quick.
Oh, okay. We can read chat. Great chat.
Audio.
Yeah, stop audio.
Read chat. See what chat's saying.
What?
Oh, ears hurt though.
All right, chat. What do you
Not
got
as
for
bad as it used to be.
Right. These are still nowhere near as bad as what they
Oh no, it was way worse before. Part of it's also because I've had a cough for like an hour. I've been holding it in. I don't know how I held it in that long.
Yeah, no, I was kind of surprised too.
I'm just seeing what people said in the chat. Yeah,
Fortnite
dude, we
in
have a
the
lot of
chat.
people talking about PUBG and Fortnite. We have like this big community where like PUBG's better, Fortnite's better. Some of it's just because you can only install one on Android and one on iOS. There's not they're not both available on both platforms.
I'm Android for life, but I like Fortnite better. So
I'm just reading through what people were saying.
if Fortnite comes to Switch, Nate, we need to stream that.
Stop stalling. Say it so we can kill you.
Yeah.
Oh, they're like, I never touched that series. So you didn't even get mad at me.
What?
GU King of Heart.
Oh, yeah.
Star Fox Zero was so. Hopefully they make a new Star Fox game. No offense to people who still love their Wii U. Miyamoto innovating, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going through
Podcasts ignore chats. Well, we were because technically we weren't supposed to be reading the chat.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I didn't really read the chat before.
Right. No, because this is not supposed to be a...
Yeah, this is not a fan.
We're not supposed to be one.
Right.
Yeah. This is not a fan. One, we're not supposed to be live in general. But this is just an ad, and the podcast is an ad, but we're doing it to kind of show what you guys can get for $10 on Patreon.
And even then, we still wouldn't be reading.
And we don't read the chat during that
Right.
either, like at all. So like even when you're chatting there, like it's not like this podcast is technically supposed to be a pre-recorded podcast that comes out on Mondays, but for a Patreon perk, you are able to see it live. It is not fully edited. There are things that get edited out. The green screen's not being used. Darren's not being shown. Like even if Darren was on camera, he wouldn't be on camera on the live version. Like it's not the best version of the podcast. It's just not. But for people who love that behind the scenes look, the raw, unedited stuff, like there's people who say, you should live stream like recording Prime News. I'm like, well, I can't right now. Maybe that is something I'll do someday if I ever get a DSLR camera for the actual episode. Just toss my webcam in the corner and you can watch me record an episode or something. But like that's kind of the idea is they're watching us record the podcast.
Right, and the thing is it's not that we are ignoring you per se. It's we're trying to get this podcast. We can't. It's not one of those things that we can keep
now. What I will note is if and when we do launch a second podcast, which I do want to happen on the other end of the week, right? So this comes out on Mondays. I want one that hits on Friday or Saturday. I'm not sure yet which. Probably Friday because I want my weekend free, but we'll see. I do want to get a live podcast out that's different. So what's going to happen here is that this podcast is going to be more about the long verse topics. So let's say like the fan topics. Those are really good ones. It'll be less focused on news is what I'm saying. Unless the news is so big, it needs to be covered multiple times. Whereas the Friday one will always be news. It'll be what's the biggest news from the week? Those are our topics. Let's talk about it. And then a Q&A. So our Q&A is still going to exist, but it's going to be in podcast form. So if you guys ever seen like Spawncast Live, it's kind of like that, where it's news and then we have a Q&A. And that's what I want to make it like. So that is where we do interact with the chat. We are listening to what you say because it's all about interactions with you while having conversations about news with multiple people. Whereas this podcast is all pre-recorded. Topics we want to talk about. This is where all the betting specials will happen. This will be stuff that's basically more planned out. Whereas the other one's like, here's all the news. Let's just talk about it.
In a way, this is more of a professional.
Sure, I guess that's a good
for
way to
lack
look
of a
at
better
it.
word. It's more of a
Good.
professional setting type of thing.
Yeah, kind of like that. I mean, eventually, I want to get to the point where my dream for this, by the way, like like how we have like the Prime News and everything. If my dream is to kind of do what Kind of Funny does a little bit, where they have like that daily, like their daily games cast Monday through Friday for like an hour. I kind of want to do that as a thing where they live stream their games cast every day for 1 hour, and then obviously it's up as soon as it's done uploading. And I kind of want to do that, but for me to do that involves another full-time employee, which I don't have. So it's one of those things that if we get big enough that I can hire Eric on or hire somebody else on that's interested in doing that for an hour a day. Like, look, they work nights or something. They can pop on over here for an hour or two. Let's make it happen. And I'll pay them or whatever. That's, I think, when it can happen. Because then we can start having that not a feel like Kind of Funny, but that Nintendo conversation every day. And I think people would love that. That to me is more important than having it doesn't replace anything because it's different. Because it's basically Prime News, but conversation based, and then taking in feedback all the time for it. So I don't know. That's my dream. We're a long ways off from doing that. But yeah, 2 podcasts. That's my goal. I don't know what the second podcast will be called, but the second podcast will be news focused as a weekly recap. This one will be focused on fan topics or conversation set pieces, or if there's like a bigger general conversation we want to have, like what's the state of Nintendo now? Like that's not something we would cover necessarily on a weekly news podcast, which is what that one's going to be. So that's kind of how they're going to differentiate. I know we've been covering some news here.
That's just because we don't have a source.
Well, and I've talked about this. I've talked about this before. Now that I do Prime News every single day, I'm already talking about the news every single day. So it's kind of like I don't really want the podcast to just be another 2-3 hour conversation about the stuff I've already been talking about all week.
Right. No, for sure.
Like the news today, that was okay. The first one that Darren did, because I actually haven't talked about that yet.
Well, right. And
it landed today. It landed after I already recorded Prime News.
Right.
So that's something that's going to appear in tomorrow's Prime News. But again, by the time they do this podcast, it will be something I've talked about.
Right. But it's also a decently large enough topic.
Yeah, yeah. And it's one of those things that anything that's large enough that I feel to be hit on twice, sure. And there's also different settings.
Right.
Like this setting right now is Eric,
group
me, and Darren, and then maybe a special YouTube guest or whatever. Whereas on Fridays, what I'm trying to do, the reason we haven't even started it yet is one, I got to lock down time. But beyond that, I have to lock down guests. So I want it to have regulars, like Game Over Jesse, be on every single week, every Friday with me doing this. 5J, get him on every single week. Like even start it with that as the initial 2, and then maybe start like just building out, like bring in people that I don't normally have on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't 5J and Game Over Jesse used to be regulars, but they're really not. It's me, Eric, and Darren.
Mm-hmm.
We're the regular crew. Then we bring in She Says. We bring in a HMK. We bring in that special guest for specific conversations. What I want. Did you guys enjoy our Smashcast? That's what I want the podcast to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like that themed thing we do every week.
Mm-hmm.
And then the news is all hit. Like that Smashcast was a lot of fun. Imagine diving deep on topics like that every single week.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this podcast could be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I want to take the podcast in the future. But we're not going to transition that until the second podcast is ready to go. Right now, I don't have anything set up.
Mm-hmm. We still reading chat.
Wait, why is this live again, Mark?
Oh.
Mark, late to the party.
Yeah.
Mark, he's our man. If
Marky
he can't
Mark.
do it, no one can.
What's up, Marky Mark?
Where's
Where's
the
the
turn into a
funky bunch?
podcast about pie. The podcast is over, guys, by the way.
Yeah.
It ended at the 1:41 mark.
Mm-hmm.
1 hour and 41 minutes. So I was just kind of explaining some things to some questions we had.
Oh, actually, it's going to be a little bit less than that. Well, yeah.
Whatever.
Because we're going to be cutting out.
It'll be like an hour and 38 minutes or whatever.
Right.
Anyways, that's going to do it. It's getting late. I'm
Yeah.
sure Yulia's home by now.
I have to. Yeah, she was. I heard the door dinger go off.
All right, so I'm going to head to bed.
I have to be up in 6 hours. So.
Yay! So do I, because my kids wake up and I get them to school. Hey! All right, guys. Peace out.
Later.
Like, legit. Except there's a delay because I have to go over here. I can't actually end the stream until I move. And I still can't end it because now I'm stuck because my foot hurts. And now I need.
Would you finish?
And now my balls hurt.
I'm trying to entertain. It's not working too well. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Not entertained.
I don't know what to do with my hands.